Most people spend years, if not decades, collecting information, but wonder why their life still hasn't changed. What you're seeking isn't more information, it is integration and application. Today, I'm going to break down for you my personal 20 plus years of studying and applying and embodying personal development, and I'm going to break it down for you in less than 20 minutes. I'm also going to share with you a very practical 3-step framework, and this is the only framework you need. What I really want you to know is that changing your life is simple, and that's what I'm going to break down for you today. But it's not necessarily easy because you have years and decades of thinking and being one way. And in order to create new results in any area of life, your health, finances, relationships, business, happiness, or more, you have to get out of your own way. You have to upgrade who you are being, and when you change, your results change with it. So let's dive in. I'm going to break down for you 3 pillars that I take my coaching clients through on how to change your life. And the first step to change is always awareness. So I'm going to write this down here. And if you're new to this, I have a free resource to help you get started. It's called the Life Assessment. You can find it on my website, heatherhakes.com, or click on the link below. Take the Life Assessment because awareness is the first step to creating change in your life. And actually, let me share with you this. There's a quote by Carl Jung who said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and call it fate." And that's what's happening for most people, and maybe even for you. If you're not consciously aware of what's going on in your subconscious mind, think of your subconscious as your OS. It's your operating system. And if you don't know what's going on in 95% of who you are, no matter how hard you try or want change, with the 5% conscious mind, the 95% takes over and pulls you back to those old patterns every single time. So awareness is where we have to begin. Remember, take that life assessment. So here's what I mean by awareness, and what I kind of just touched on is the idea of your conscious versus subconscious mind. And this is something you have to know. It's a foundational principle. So here's how I like to draw it out. Think of it like the tip of an iceberg. Your conscious mind is 5%. This is where you have your dreams, goals, wishes, desires. This is where you have change. 5%. So think of it like New Year's resolutioners or people who set goals. Do you know that the statistic for people who achieve their goals is less than 8%? Meaning 92% of people who set out on a new goal, lose weight, make more money, get in a relationship, get a new job, fail. 92% of people fail. Why? Because they're only tapping into 5%. They haven't gotten into the 95%, your subconscious mind, which is on autopilot, driving your habitual behaviors. It stores your beliefs, your habits, your identity or self-image, your memories, and more. So think of it as your storehouse. It's your OS, the operating system. Now, much of your subconscious mind was programmed and conditioned at a very young age before you had your analytical, logical mind to question things. Is that really true? On money and relationships. So people use the term generational trauma. What that really is that subconscious programming and conditioning brought down generation by generation. So generational poverty, generational obesity, generational fill in the blank. The problems are because nobody questioned the subconscious programming. So in those early primitive years, birth up until about age 7, this line right here represents your analytical mind. It's not yet formed. So think about it like this. You're in a hypnotic state. You're primarily in theta brainwave state in these early years. So you learn from mom, dad, culture, and community, their belief system, their habits, their emotional states. And we have what's called mirror neurons where you literally imitate what's around you. So many of your foundational beliefs, habits, self-image aren't even yours. So any area of life in which you feel stuck, we have to get to the subconscious programming, and what I like to say, pull the weeds and plant new seeds. Now, a lot of personal development is very surface level BS. It would be like having weeds in your garden and just mowing them, trying to make them look better. Habit hacking, get up at 5 a.m., hustle and grind and work harder. But that's only dealing with surface level things and not getting to the root cause, which I get into. And in order to change your reality and your current circumstances and consciously create your reality, rather than living by default and letting the subconscious run you, you have to become aware. So all you need to know here in this idea of becoming aware is start questioning the thoughts you think. Start questioning your beliefs. And the easiest way to see this is pay attention to the stories you tell. We live into the stories you tell. So for example, if you believe or talk about how hard dating is, how hard making money is, it's impossible to get a job, fill in the blank. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because whatever you think about and speak about, you bring about. You are laying the foundation for your future based on who you are being today, what you're thinking, feeling, and doing. So this is where we have to start. Become aware. Now, awareness is the first step, right? So let's get into the second step. The second step in this framework, the only thing you need to create change in your life is about having a clear aim. And I find that most people lack clarity on what they want. And the reason you lack clarity is because you're stuck in autopilot, thinking and feeling the same. And a lot of people are living in high stress, fear, doubt, worry, and those mental, emotional states are what keep you stuck. Again, the first step to creating change is awareness and to start interrupting the autopilot loops. Once you have that interruption and you become aware, now you have mental clarity and capacity to start getting clear on what you do want. So here's what I would offer you to do. Sit down and get really clear. What do you want your life to look like? What kind of money do you want? What's that lifestyle? Where do you want to live? What do you want to have, be, do, and experience? What do you want for relationships, for family, for work, for career, for home and experiences? Get really clear on the life you want to live. And the purpose of this is your brain is a goal-achieving machine. It needs a target. And this isn't about vision boarding, but if that helps you at least create clarity, you could start there. But here's the trap in vision boards on their own. Creating a vision board and putting it up on the wall, you see it and you think subconsciously, if not consciously, someday, one day, I hope that would be nice. So you will continue living in a space of someday, one day, I hope that would be nice. Because time is an illusion. And when you put something out in front of you, a 5-year, a 10-year goal or plan, it could take that long or longer to get it. But more importantly, is just getting clear on what you want and who you would have to be. What version of you, how would you be thinking, feeling, and acting every day, in which those outcomes are normal. They're familiar. So for example, a lot of people have a pipe dream. I want to be a millionaire. But again, it's a pipe dream. How would a millionaire be thinking, feeling, and acting? They wouldn't be in scarcity. They wouldn't be cheap. They would be generous. They would be grateful. They would be free-flowing. They have a belief that what I put out, I get back. It's a very different energetics. And based on who you are being, that's what you will experience. So now that you have awareness of what's going on subconsciously and where your blocks are, your beliefs, the habits that aren't serving you, and now you've created a clear aim, what you want your life to look like, now we have a gap, right? You have a gap between where you are and what you want to have, be, do, and experience. So how do you close this gap? This is where the third step comes in this framework. Think of this as the daily application. And again, this is where a lot of people, I experienced it myself, become a self-help junkie. reading the books and listening to podcasts and getting coaching and going to seminars. But what happens is you get into this, what you think is beneficial, this information gathering, but it's just like mental stimulation. It's not actually transformation. So what you're seeking is the application, the integration, the embodiment of this information. So in order to close the gap where you are to where you want to be, comes down to the daily disciplines. Now, the biggest thing you could do is how you spend your morning, because how you spend your morning sets the tone for the entire day. Most people wake up in autopilot, same shit, different day, scroll on their phone, hit the snooze button. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So the morning is your prime opportunity to start being intentional, to start consciously creating and directing your attention, being clear on the aims and who you would need to be. And think of this as living your life by design, because if you're not intentional, so let's write this down. Your morning practice and being intentional, forward focused, right? We're not dwelling on the past because the past is back there. We are forward focused. Let's write that down. So if you wake up every day and you have a morning practice, meditation, breath work, mentally rehearsing how you want to be, here's you. Here's version 2.0, this next version of you who has these things. You want to mentally rehearse the thoughts you'd be thinking, the emotional states you'd be living in, and the habits you'd be taking. Because these three together create your results in your life. Literally, that is it. That is 20 years of personal development distilled into the practical things that actually move the needle, the foundational things that's happening internally, because whatever's happening internally, you experience externally. So you have this morning practice, you have meditation, you have breath work, you have mental rehearsal. You're setting yourself up to win the day, because think about that, winning the day, stacking those 1% incremental better changes, all of a sudden things start happening quickly and compounding. So we have the morning practice. You're being intentional. You're forward focused. You are aware of how you've been thinking, feeling, and being, and you are consciously choosing to have confidence, to have certainty, to feel grateful, to be consistent, to have follow through. And what all of that is doing is building self-trust. And when you have self-trust and you put all of this into play, then you understand in order to get from where you are to where you want to be, time is not linear. Time comes down to, or getting what you want comes down to that internal alignment, which is what's happening here. Because when you have this internal alignment and you just understand the mechanics of this 3D human experience, and you are consistent and you put this into play, and every single day you stay intentional and self-aware, then you know that your wanted outcomes become inevitable. Why? Because your outcomes are always based on a result of who you are being. Your life is a reflection of your internal state. There's a Hermetic principle called correspondence that simply states, as within, so without. And again, that's why awareness was everything. As Carl Jung stated, until you make the unconscious conscious, it directs your life and you call it fate. But now that you've become conscious and aware of the 95%, and you're being intentional every single day, you now see that life is happening through you, not to you. That your life and current circumstances are simply feedback based on who you are being. Bruce Lipton says that your life is a printout of your subconscious programming. So the current results in every single area of life, the dollars, your health, your relationships, where you're at in business, are simply a printout or feedback based on identity, self-image, and habits. Literally, that's it. But identity is everything, because identity is the root cause. See how thoughts and emotions are the first dominoes in reality creation. So if you're only trying to change down here at the habit level, you're wasting your time. You're not getting to the root cause. But when you upgrade your mental, emotional states based on your daily disciplines, wanted habits become natural based on who you are being. It's just what you do. So for example, going to the gym every day for me, a healthy, active lifestyle is just what I do. It is my identity. It is who I am. An identity can be changed. This is what neuroplasticity and Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches. Dispenza is teaching this neuroplasticity, the rewiring of the subconscious mind, and his process is meditation and breath work. But what it really comes down to, boil down to one takeaway, it's mental rehearsal. If you spend time every single day, a few minutes, we're talking like 5 minutes in the morning to get started, but if you spend 5 minutes in the morning mentally rehearsing, thinking and feeling as that next version of you, thinking and feeling as the millionaire, as someone in a thriving relationship, as someone who has a successful business, as somebody who is healthy, happy, and fulfilled, and you're mentally rehearsing that, think of it as creating that energetic alignment. And then the key is to act as that version of you throughout your day. Then that's how you get all three in alignment. And when all three are in alignment, your identity, your thoughts and emotions, and your habits, getting these clear aim becomes a natural byproduct based on who you are being. So here is your takeaway. In order to close the gap from where you are to the life you could be living, you have to break that autopilot loop. You break the autopilot loop through awareness and then interruption. From there, now you have capacity and mental clarity to create a clear aim that, despite where you're currently at, it's not final, it's only feedback. What do I want? And then, who would I have to be? How would I show up every single day? And how can I rewire my identity and mental emotional states and then act in alignment, because I know that what I want becomes inevitable. Let me know what questions you have. Be sure to drop them down below in the comment section. Now, as I shared, information alone does not create transformation. That knowledge is power, BS. No, knowledge is potential power. Application, integration is true power. So take what you learned today and start applying it to your life, and you will experience change and transformation. Thanks for tuning into today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.